The moment everything changes. Imagine standing in front of a mirror, not to fix your hair, not to check your reflection, but to face yourself, not the version the world sees, but the one you've been hiding, the one that's tired, frustrated, unseen. This is the moment where everything changes, because there comes a point when you realize the world isn't coming to save you, no applause is coming, no validation, no rescue. You can wait for approval your whole life and still end up stuck. Or you can turn inward, focus on you, and build something unstoppable. That's the truth few are willing to accept. The day you stop chasing everything outside of you is the day you start winning. This audiobook is not about motivation, it's about transformation. It's about turning pain into power, distraction into direction, and silence into self-mastery. So take a breath. This journey is yours now. Welcome to Focus on You Until You Win. Chapter 1. The Awakening, when you realize it's all on you. There's a moment in life, quiet, invisible, yet powerful, when something inside you finally wakes up. It doesn't happen with fireworks. It doesn't come with applause. It happens in the stillness of your own thoughts. You look around and realize you've been waiting for permission, waiting for validation, waiting for someone to see your potential and hand you a reason to move forward. But then something inside whispers, no one is coming. And in that realization, something incredible begins. You see, the day you stop expecting someone to fix your life is the day you take the first step toward winning it. It's the day you understand that responsibility is not a burden, it's your liberation. For too long we've been conditioned to seek approval. We've been told to follow the crowd, to do what's safe, to be realistic. And in trying to please everyone, we lose the one person who matters most, ourselves. But focusing on yourself is not selfish, it's sacred. It's the act of saying my life is worth my full attention, because how can you give your best to the world if you've never given your best to yourself? Let me tell you something true. The people who rise, the ones who create, who build, who overcome, they all reach a point where they stop blaming, stop waiting, and start owning everything. They learn to stand alone, and in that solitude, they find power. Maybe you've been through moments that shook you to your core. Disappointment, betrayal, failure, heartbreak. Maybe you gave everything to people who didn't see your worth. Maybe you've tried again and again, and nothing seemed to change. But what if those moments weren't setbacks? What if they were signals, wake-up calls pushing you back to yourself? Every difficulty has a message. Come home. Come home to your strength. Come home to your focus. Come home to the version of you that stopped waiting for the world and started building her own. Because when you finally decide to focus on you, really focus, something shifts. You stop chasing, you stop proving, you stop explaining, you start becoming, and that's when life begins to move differently. It's not about becoming colder or shutting the world out. It's about becoming centered, grounded in who you are and where you're going. When you focus on you, the noise fades, the confusion clears, and the right path starts to reveal itself. Step by step, you begin to see that growth is not about control, it's about responsibility. It's realizing that your happiness, your peace, and your progress are your own job. Yes, people will hurt you. Yes, life will test you. But you cannot control what happens around you, only what happens within you. That's where focus begins. Not in trying to fix others, not in forcing outcomes, but in mastering yourself. Think of your life like a garden. When you tend your soil, your habits, your thoughts, your energy, the right things start to grow naturally. You don't have to beg for sunlight or force the rain. You just have to keep nurturing what's yours. But too often, we pour our water into other people's gardens and wonder why our roots are dry. We invest our time, our emotion, our strength into things that give nothing back. And then we wonder why we feel empty. It's because we've forgotten the first rule of growth. You can't bloom if you don't feed your own soul first. So this is your call, not to chase attention, not to compete, not to prove, but to focus, to return your energy to yourself, to stop living on autopilot and start building with intention. Every great transformation begins with one brave decision, to stop pointing outward and start looking inward. Ask yourself right now, where have I been giving away my power? To people, to fear, to the past, to opinions that don't define me? And then ask, what would happen if I took all that energy back? You'd become unstoppable. Because the truth is, the version of you that's been buried under fear, doubt and distraction, she's still there, waiting, patiently, quietly. All she needs is your focus, not the scattered kind that burns out after a week, but the deep, steady kind that keeps showing up no matter how long it takes. Focus doesn't mean you have it all figured out. It means you're willing to stay the course, even when it's lonely, even when no one claps, even when nothing seems to work yet, because growth takes time, and every second you invest in yourself compounds. The small disciplines, the late-night reflections, the uncomfortable changes, they add up, and one day, they'll meet you in the mirror, as confidence, peace, and purpose. This chapter, this awakening, is your reminder that the power has always been yours, not in control of everything, but in control of yourself, and that's enough to change everything. So stand where you are right now, in this exact moment, and breathe. Feel that. That's the start of something new, not a new life handed to you, but one you're about to build with clarity and intention. No more waiting, no more begging for recognition, no more shrinking to fit. It's time to focus on you, your growth, your peace, your purpose, until the world can't help but notice the difference. This is your awakening. This is where the journey begins. And as we move into the next chapter, we'll explore what it truly means to silence the noise, to protect your energy, to find your rhythm, and to create a life so aligned that it feels effortless. But first, let this truth sink deep into your soul. No one is coming. It's all on you. And that is the best news you'll ever hear. Chapter 2. Silence the noise. There's a sound we've all grown used to, the constant hum of the world, the endless opinions, the comparisons, the updates, the scrolling, the noise. It fills our days, floods our thoughts, and quietly steals our peace. But here's the truth. You cannot build focus in chaos. You cannot hear your purpose if your mind is always crowded, and you cannot truly know yourself until you learn to silence the world around you. So, take a breath. Imagine for just a moment that every voice, every notification, every expectation suddenly goes quiet. What's left? Just you and the sound of your own truth. That silence you feel, that's not emptiness, that's clarity. That's where your real power begins. Most people spend their lives reacting to messages, to opinions, to pressure. They're constantly pulled in 100 directions, never stopping long enough to ask, what do I actually want? They mistake movement for progress and noise for meaning. But there's a difference between being busy and being purposeful. One drains you, the other builds you. When you focus on you, silence becomes your teacher. It shows you where your energy has been wasted. It reveals what's been distracting you. And it brings you face to face with something most people avoid: yourself. That's why silence scares so many. Because when the noise fades, the truth gets louder. You start to notice the patterns, the excuses, the fears you've buried under constant distraction. But that's exactly where transformation begins. Think about it. Every breakthrough in your life came from a quiet moment of realization. The decision to walk away, the courage to start again. The moment you finally said enough. It didn't happen when you were surrounded by noise. It happened when you listened to your own voice. So many people say they want clarity, but clarity requires space. You can't hear your intuition over the sound of everyone else's opinions. You can't build your dream while carrying the weight of every critic, and you can't grow if you're always trying to be seen. The loudest person in the room is rarely the one who's in control. Real power moves quietly. Real growth happens when you're not performing for anyone. When it's just you, putting in the work, unseen, unbothered, unstoppable. This world will try to convince you that silence means weakness, that if you're not constantly posting, talking, proving, you're falling behind. But silence is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's choosing to protect your focus instead of wasting it. When you choose silence, you're not disconnecting from the world, you're reconnecting with yourself. You're learning to hear your own intuition again. You're remembering that peace is not something you find, it's something you protect. So how do you silence the noise? You begin by becoming intentional about what you allow in. Ask yourself, what am I consuming? Who am I listening to? What am I letting shape my thoughts? Because what you feed your mind becomes the language of your life. If you constantly feed yourself distraction, you'll live in confusion. But if you feed yourself peace, focus, and stillness, your decisions become stronger, your purpose clearer, your steps more certain. Start with small things. Turn off what doesn't serve you. Step back from what drains your energy. Learn to enjoy quiet moments without feeling the urge to fill them. The more comfortable you become in silence, the more dangerous you become to mediocrity. Because silence breeds self-control, and self-control builds mastery. In a world that glorifies noise, your calm becomes your power. You'll start to see through the illusion, the endless chase for attention, validation, competition. You'll realize that most of the world is distracted by what doesn't matter. But you're learning to focus on what does. Think about a seed buried in the soil. It doesn't make noise, it doesn't announce its growth. But beneath the surface, something powerful is happening. Roots are forming. Strength is building. And one day, it breaks through strong, steady, ready. That's what happens when you choose silence. You may feel hidden for a while, unseen, misunderstood, but growth is not supposed to be loud. It's supposed to be intentional. And when your season of silence is over, the world won't need to be told. It will see. So don't rush your process because someone else is shouting louder. Don't measure your worth by visibility. Measure it by peace, by progress, by how aligned you feel when no one's watching. Because when your mind is quiet, your focus becomes sharp. And when your focus is sharp, your actions become powerful. That's how transformation happens, not in chaos, but in calm. Remember this, noise is a thief. It steals time, energy, and attention. But silence is a mirror. It shows you who you really are. So choose the mirror. Let the world talk while you work. Let them doubt while you build. Let them chase attention while you chase peace. Because at the end of the day, the loudest person is rarely the one who wins. It's the one who stayed quiet, stayed focused, and kept moving forward when no one was watching. This chapter isn't about escaping the world, it's about mastering your inner world. When you learn to silence the noise, you stop reacting and start creating. You stop chasing and you start attracting. And that's when focus becomes your superpower. So, as you move forward, make this promise to yourself. I will no longer let noise distract me from my purpose. I will protect my peace like it's gold. I will listen to my intuition above all else. Because the truth is simple. When you silence the noise, you finally hear the voice that matters most. And that voice, your own, is about to lead you exactly where you need to go. As we step into the next chapter, we'll explore what it means to build discipline over emotion, how to keep your focus strong even when motivation fades, and how to turn consistency into the engine that drives your success. But before we go there, take one quiet moment. Turn down the volume of the world. Listen to your own heartbeat. That rhythm, steady, alive, unshaken, is the sound of your focus returning home. Chapter 3. Discipline over emotion. There will be mornings when the weight of the world presses on your chest. Days when your mind whispers, "Not today." You're too tired, too overwhelmed, too human. And in those moments, a quiet battle begins between who you are and who you want to become. This is the battle of discipline versus emotion. It's the moment when your feelings beg for comfort, but your future calls for commitment. Every great transformation begins here, in the invisible tug-of-war between your desire for ease and your hunger for growth. Because the truth is simple: if you always do what you feel, you'll stay where you are. But if you do what you must, even when you don't feel like it, you'll become unstoppable. Discipline isn't about perfection, it's about repetition. It's not a punishment, it's protection. Protection from the chaos of inconsistency, from the roller coaster of moods, from the traps of procrastination that steal your potential one day at a time. Think about it. How many dreams have died not because they were impossible, but because someone gave up on a day they didn't feel like trying? Emotion is temporary. Discipline is timeless. Emotion says, "I'll start tomorrow." Discipline says, "I'll start now." Emotion makes promises under the glow of motivation. Discipline keeps them when the spark fades. And that's what separates winners from wishers. Not talent, not luck, but the ability to stay consistent when feelings disappear. There's a story playing out in your daily life. Every morning a choice stands before you. The easy path, where you obey your emotion, or the disciplined path, where you obey your purpose. Most people lose that battle before breakfast. They hit snooze instead of rising. They scroll instead of working. They react instead of building. But every time you choose discipline, you rewrite that story. You prove to yourself that your future means more than your comfort, and with every small act of consistency, you stack quiet victories no one sees. Victories that eventually build the life you dream of. Discipline doesn't scream, it doesn't brag, it doesn't demand recognition. It whispers, "Keep going." It's there in the early mornings, the late nights, the moments you want to quit but don't. It's the unseen muscle that carries you through storms. If you want to focus on you until you win, you must learn to live above your emotion. Because emotions change like the weather. Unpredictable, temporary, fleeting. But discipline builds a climate of progress. You don't need to feel inspired every day. You need to show up anyway. You don't need to believe every step is perfect. You just need to keep stepping. There's beauty in the grind, not because it's glamorous, but because it's honest. You meet yourself there. You learn your strength there. You earn your respect there. Some days you'll give 100%, some days you'll give 30%. But if you keep giving something every single day, you'll never lose momentum. The truth is, the bridge between goals and results is built with discipline. Every small routine, every quiet repetition, every promise kept adds another plank to that bridge. And one day, you'll look back and realize you didn't just cross it, you built it, step by step with your own consistency. But let's be honest, discipline will test you. It will ask you to work when you'd rather rest, to keep believing when results are invisible, to show up without applause. And that's exactly why it's powerful. Because the world celebrates results, but discipline celebrates process. It's the silent agreement you make with yourself to keep your word even when no one's watching. Let me ask you this: how many times have you been close to a breakthrough, but emotion made you walk away? How many times did doubt win because it felt easier than patience? You see, discipline is not just doing the work, it's trusting the work. Trusting that your small actions matter, that each repetition is planting a seed for a harvest you can't yet see. Your emotions will try to distract you with impatience. It's not working fast enough. But discipline answers back. Keep going. The roots are growing even if the fruit hasn't shown yet. That's the mindset that changes everything. Because discipline turns ordinary effort into extraordinary results over time. And here's something people rarely admit. The most disciplined people in the world aren't always the most motivated. They just decided to stop negotiating with their excuses. They replaced motivation with structure. They replaced feelings with focus. They don't wait to want to do it. They do it because it's who they are. That's identity-level discipline. Not just a habit, a stand-hand work. That's where your real power begins. When you no longer rely on emotional highs to keep moving forward, your momentum becomes permanent. You stop depending on circumstances, and you start depending on your consistency. When you focus on you, you'll realize discipline is an act of self-respect. It's saying, I believe in my future enough to act for it, even when no one else sees it yet. You owe that to yourself, not for validation, not for praise, but because you deserve to live the life your effort can create. Discipline may not feel good in the moment, but it builds the kind of peace that emotions can't touch, because there's a special kind of calm that comes from knowing you kept your word to yourself. So the next time your mind says, I don't feel like it, smile. That's the signal. That's the moment to lean in, not pull back. Because every time you choose action over emotion, you build the strength that will carry you through every future storm. That emotional highs will fade, that the applause will stop, the world will move on. But the discipline you build, that stays. It becomes your foundation, your armor, your legacy. So remember this, your feelings may guide your mood, but your discipline will define your destiny. Choose wisely, because when you live with discipline, you don't just chase success, you embody it. You become someone unshakable, someone consistent, someone who no longer needs to feel ready, because you are ready. As we move into the next chapter, we'll explore the solitude behind strength, the power of isolation. We'll uncover why stepping away from the crowd is not about loneliness, but alignment. Because after mastering discipline, the next evolution is learning to grow alone, quietly, deeply, and powerfully. But before we get there, remember this, your emotions are visitors, your discipline is your home, and the person who learns to live there never loses. Chapter 4. The Power of Isolation. There will come a time in your journey when silence becomes your greatest teacher. A time when the noise of the world, the opinions, the judgments, the distractions, no longer excites you. Instead, you begin craving stillness, solitude, space to think, to grow, to rebuild yourself from within. Isolation isn't punishment, it's preparation. It's where you shed the layers of who you were told to be and finally start meeting the person you truly are. In a world that glorifies attention, solitude feels strange. People fear being alone, as if silence might expose something they've been avoiding. But solitude doesn't break you, it reveals you. It holds up a mirror and says, this is who you are when no one's watching. This is what's left when everything unnecessary is stripped away, and that's where power begins. Not in noise, not in crowds, but in the quiet space where truth echoes loudest. Most people run from isolation because it feels empty, but those who embrace it discover that emptiness is just space, space to grow, space to think, space to create. Every great transformation is born in silence. Every vision, every comeback, every reinvention starts when the world stops distracting you. When you're alone, you start to hear your own thoughts, not the ones shaped by social pressure or outside voices, but the ones buried deep within your soul. You begin to realize how much energy you've been wasting trying to be seen, understood, or accepted. And in that realization comes peace, the kind of peace that no crowd can give you. Isolation teaches you to rely on your own energy. You stop seeking validation because you start validating yourself. You stop waiting for others to motivate you because your purpose begins to wake you up instead. Think of it like this. When an eagle grows, it doesn't stay in the nest, surrounded by noise. It flies higher, where the air is thinner, where few can follow. That's not loneliness, that's evolution. The higher you go, the quieter it gets, and that's the truth about success. As you rise, your circle will shrink. Not everyone is meant to go where you're headed. Isolation will show you that not every friend is aligned, not every voice deserves space in your mind, not every connection is meant to last. You'll lose people when you start growing, but you'll outgrow conversations that once excited you, habits that once comforted you, and environments that once felt like home. It's not arrogance, it's alignment, and alignment always requires separation before elevation. The beauty of isolation is that it forces you to face your weaknesses. When there's no one to impress, no one to distract you, all that's left is you, your discipline, your thoughts, your truth. That's when you realize whether your foundation is built on motivation or meaning. In solitude, you learn the difference between activity and progress. You stop chasing every shiny thing and start focusing on what actually moves you forward. You begin to filter your time, your energy, your focus. You stop chasing attention and start building intention. But don't misunderstand, isolation doesn't mean disconnection. It's not about cutting the world off, it's about reconnecting with yourself so you can face the world with clarity. It's not about being antisocial, it's about being self-aware. You can only pour into others from a cup that's full, and isolation is how you refill it. When you start embracing solitude, you'll notice something magical. Your creativity expands. Ideas come more naturally. Solutions appear in silence. Peace replaces pressure. You start operating from purpose, not panic. That's because silence sharpens the mind. It gives space for thoughts to mature, for intuition to speak. And the more you listen to that inner voice, the stronger it becomes. The world teaches you to always be available, online, connected, responsive. But greatness is born from people who dare to step back and go offline. Not to escape reality, but to design it. Isolation is not the absence of connection, it's the creation of clarity. It's where you stop reacting and start envisioning. It's where you plan your next move, not for validation, but for purpose. And make no mistake, isolation will test you. It will feel lonely at first. It will make you question everything, your goals, your worth, your path. But if you stay long enough, the loneliness transforms into focus, the confusion turns into clarity, and the quiet becomes your power. Because once you've learned how to stand alone, no one can shake your foundation again. You stop begging for attention because you've learned to give yourself peace. You stop chasing energy because you've become the source of it. Isolation is the classroom where you learn self-trust. And self-trust is the foundation of every great leader, creator, and dreamer. When you trust your own timing, your own process, your own voice, you become unstoppable. So if you ever find yourself in a season of solitude, don't rush to escape it. Don't try to fill the silence. Sit with it. Listen. Grow within it. Because the person you become in isolation will be the one who walks into every future room with unshakable confidence. Remember, success is not built in public, it's built in private. Behind every moment of victory lies countless hours of quiet work, self-reflection, and unseen growth. So when the world gets quiet, don't see it as loss, see it as preparation. You are not being isolated from something, you are being isolated for something, something greater, something higher, something meant only for you. And when that moment arrives, when your preparation meets your purpose, the same silence that once felt heavy will feel like peace. Because isolation didn't break you, it built you. As we move into the next chapter, we'll explore the secret that transforms growth into greatness, mastering the art of focus. You've learned to silence the noise, to stay disciplined, to embrace solitude. Now it's time to channel all that energy toward what truly matters. But before you move on, remember this. Isolation is not the end of your journey, it's the beginning of your transformation, because in the quiet, you didn't lose the world, you found yourself. Chapter 5. Master the Art of Focus. There's a point in every journey where distractions start to look like opportunities. They come dressed as comfort, disguised as convenience, whispering that it's okay to slow down, that maybe you've done enough. But this is the moment that separates the almost successful from the unstoppable. Because the truth is simple, you can't win if you're scattered. You can't grow if your attention is divided between everything and nothing. Focus isn't just a skill, it's a discipline. It's the quiet, unseen power that turns potential into reality. Picture this, a magnifying glass under the sun. The light is everywhere, gentle, harmless until you focus it. Then it becomes fire. That's the power of focus. It takes the light of your effort and turns it into heat, strong enough to burn through obstacles. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they lack focus. They start strong, then drift, pulled by noise, by comparison, by things that don't truly matter. They give their attention to 100 small things and wonder why nothing grows. But winners, the ones who truly rise, they choose one path, one purpose, and give it everything. Focus is not about doing more, it's about doing less better. It's saying no to almost everything, so you can say yes to what actually matters. And in a world that profits from your distraction, focus becomes your superpower. Think about how much energy you waste trying to do everything at once, scrolling, multitasking, overthinking, switching goals every few weeks. Every time you divide your attention, you dilute your potential, you drain your energy before you ever reach momentum. But when you choose to focus, really focus, something shifts. Your thoughts become sharper, your energy becomes intentional, you stop chasing outcomes and start mastering process. The noise fades and clarity takes its place. Focus is a muscle. It grows stronger the more you use it, but it also weakens when you feed it distractions. Every time you pick consistency over comfort, you strengthen it. Every time you choose your purpose over pleasure, you train it. And let's be honest, focus requires sacrifice. You will lose people who don't understand why you're not available like you used to be. You'll lose comfort because growth never lives in easy places. You'll lose the false sense of busyness that used to make you feel productive. But what you gain, clarity, direction, peace, will change your entire life. There's a story I once heard, a man trying to chop down a tree. He swung the axe once, then moved to another tree, swung again, then another. He kept moving, confident he was working hard, but no tree ever fell. That's how most people live, always busy, always moving, but never making real progress, because focus isn't in motion, it's in direction. If you want to win, you have to pick your tree, decide what matters most and keep swinging until it falls. That's how you build something that lasts. Focus also demands patience, because true growth doesn't happen overnight. You'll be tempted to look around, to compare your pace with others, to question your path. But remember, the flower doesn't bloom faster by staring at the one beside it. It grows quietly, steadily, and in its own time. So must you. In the digital age, focus is rebellion. Every app, every platform, every algorithm is designed to pull your mind in 1,000 directions. They fight for your attention, because attention is the new currency, but you can't afford to spend yours carelessly. You must learn to protect your focus like your future depends on it, because it does. Start by simplifying your environment. Remove what distracts you, clutter, noise, unnecessary commitments. Then simplify your goals. You don't need 10, you need 1, burning with purpose. Write it down. Look at it daily. Let it become the compass that guides every choice you make. Ask yourself, will this help me move closer to my vision or further away? If it doesn't serve your mission, it's a distraction. And if it's a distraction, it's a delay. The secret is not just to focus, but to stay focused, even when it's boring, even when it's hard, even when no one's watching, because that's when mastery happens. Focus is built in the moments of repetition. When you do the same thing over and over with purpose, precision, and patience, you begin to separate yourself from the ordinary. Focus also means controlling your energy. You can't pour your best self into everything. You must choose what's worthy of your attention. People, projects, habits, even thoughts. Every thought you allow shapes your future. Guard it carefully. When you focus long enough, something beautiful happens, momentum. And once momentum builds, it becomes almost impossible to stop you. Doors begin to open, patterns align, results compound, not because luck arrived, but because discipline finally met time. So if you're listening to this right now, ask yourself, what's stealing your focus? Is it fear, doubt, distraction disguised as productivity? Whatever it is, it's costing you progress. You can't fix what you refuse to face. Start small, choose one goal, commit to one daily action, and give it your full attention until it becomes second nature. That's how you reclaim your focus and your power. Because once you learn to control your focus, you learn to control your future. And when you focus on you, fully and intentionally, without apology, the world has no choice but to take note. In the next chapter, we'll talk about the hidden ingredient that makes focus unstoppable: consistency. You can know what you want and lock in on it, but if you don't show up every single day, even when you don't feel like it, you'll lose momentum. So as you step forward, remember this: discipline creates focus, focus creates results, and results create the life you've been chasing. Protect your focus like your dreams depend on it, because they do. And when you master it, you won't have to chase success anymore. Success will find you. Chapter 6. Consistency, the silent force behind every winner. There's a quiet power that separates dreamers from achievers. It's not luck. It's not talent. It's the simple, often overlooked act of showing up every single day. Consistency. It doesn't shine. It doesn't shout. It doesn't demand attention. But it builds empires while the world sleeps. It's the invisible rhythm behind every success story, the heartbeat of progress, the foundation of greatness. The truth is, anyone can be inspired for a day. Anyone can feel motivated for a week. But consistency is what carries you when inspiration fades. It's what you do on the days you don't feel like doing anything. Picture a sculptor. Each morning they return to the same block of stone, chisel in hand, patience in heart. Day after day, chip by chip, the vision slowly appears, not through passion alone, but through persistence. Because consistency is how dreams take shape in reality. Most people underestimate it because it feels small. It's not dramatic. It's not glamorous. It's waking up early when no one's watching. It's practicing your craft when the results are invisible. It's saying no to distractions for the 100th time. Consistency is not about perfection. It's about direction. It's the promise you keep with yourself, even when no one would notice if you quit. Here's the thing about consistency. It compounds. Small efforts, repeated daily, grow into unstoppable momentum. Every repetition adds weight to your character. Every act of discipline becomes a deposit into your future. You don't see the results at first, but they're building silently beneath the surface, preparing for the moment they'll burst into view. Think of bamboo. For years it barely breaks through the soil. To the impatient, it looks like failure. But beneath the ground it's growing roots. Deep, strong, unshakable. And when it finally rises, it shoots up faster than anyone imagined. That's consistency. growth you can't always see, but must always trust. The challenge is, consistency often feels thankless. You'll question yourself, you'll wonder if it's working, you'll look around and see others moving faster, louder, further. But remember, consistency isn't about speed, it's about staying power. You're not in competition with anyone else's timeline. You're building something that lasts. Consistency also requires self-respect. Because every time you show up, you're telling yourself, I am worth the effort. You're proving that your word matters to you, and that builds something even stronger than results. It builds trust within yourself, and self-trust is where confidence is born. Ask yourself, how many times have you started something full of energy, only to fade when it got hard? How many times did you let emotion dictate your effort? That's what separates professionals from amateurs. Professionals don't rely on mood, they rely on mission. They do it whether they feel like it or not, because they understand that consistency is not an act, it's an identity. When you make consistency who you are, you stop negotiating with yourself. There's no debate about whether you'll show up, it's simply what you do. And when you reach that level, progress becomes inevitable. It's easy to get excited at the start of a journey. The vision is clear, the motivation is high. But when the excitement fades, when results are slow, when no one's cheering, that's where winners are made. Because it's in those quiet, unseen moments that your future is decided. Consistency also humbles you. It teaches patience. It reminds you that mastery doesn't happen overnight. It's earned through repetition, correction, and resilience. You don't become great by doing something once. You become great by doing it long enough to outlast failure. And that's the beauty of it. Consistency turns mistakes into experience. It transforms effort into excellence. It builds a bridge from who you are to who you want to become. You don't need to be extraordinary every day. You just need to be faithful to the process. Even on your worst days, doing something even a little keeps the fire alive. Because progress doesn't come from doing everything once. It comes from doing one thing repeatedly until it becomes part of you. Think about water wearing down a rock. It doesn't happen through force, it happens through persistence. Drip by drip, over time, the rock gives way. That's how consistency works. It's slow, steady, and relentless. So if you're tired, if you feel stuck, if your effort feels invisible, don't stop. Every small step counts. Every quiet day of work is shaping you into something unstoppable. The universe rewards the ones who keep going long after the excitement fades. Because consistency isn't just about discipline, it's about faith. Faith that what you're building will be worth it. Faith that your effort has meaning, even when results haven't arrived. Faith that persistence will always outlast perfection. And once you truly understand this, you stop looking for quick wins. You start building a foundation that can't be shaken. You start valuing endurance over applause, because the goal is not just to rise, it's to stay. So if you want to win not just once, but for life, make consistency your identity. Be the person who shows up, be the person who follows through, be the person who keeps going when others stop. And soon, the results you once chased will start chasing you, not because of luck, but because of loyalty, your loyalty to your own path. In the next chapter, we'll explore the force that keeps consistency alive, resilient, because no matter how focused or disciplined you are, life will test you. You'll face setbacks, disappointments, even failure. But resilience is what keeps you standing when the storm hits. So as you prepare for that next step, remember this: consistency doesn't make you perfect, it makes you powerful, because when you refuse to stop showing up, the world eventually has no choice but to notice. Chapter 7. Resilience. Standing strong when life pushes back. Life has a way of testing every dream you claim you want. It won't ask you politely if you're ready. It will push you, pull you, and sometimes knock you flat on the ground, just to see if you'll rise again. That's the truth about growth. It doesn't happen in comfort. It happens in challenge, in loss, in moments that feel impossible to survive. And what carries you through those moments isn't luck or even talent, it's resilience. Resilience is the quiet strength that keeps you moving when everything around you tells you to stop. It's not about being unbreakable, it's about learning how to rebuild after you've been broken. Because no one escapes hardship, no one walks through life untouched by pain, disappointment, or failure. But the resilient, they don't let those moments define them, they use them as fuel. Think about it, a seed must break before it can grow. The ground must be split open for new life to emerge. And in the same way, your challenges aren't destroying you, they're preparing you for your next evolution. Every person who has ever achieved something extraordinary has faced moments when giving up felt easier. But resilience whispers, "Not yet, keep going." And that whisper, that tiny spark of fight, becomes the light that leads you forward through the darkest days. Resilience isn't loud. It's not about pretending everything is fine. It's about showing up, trembling, uncertain, even hurting, but still showing up. It's crying and continuing. It's doubting and doing. It's falling apart and still finding one more reason to try again. We live in a world that praises speed, perfection, and constant positivity. But resilience is born in the opposite, in patience, imperfection, and pain. It's not a trait you're born with, it's a muscle you build, one hardship at a time. You learn resilience when you lose something you thought you couldn't live without. You learn it when life doesn't go your way, and yet you keep finding a way forward. You learn it when failure becomes a teacher instead of an ending. Resilience is not about avoiding pain, it's about transforming it, turning wounds into wisdom, turning setbacks into strategy, turning why me into watch me. There's something powerful that happens when you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" That shift is where resilience lives, not in resistance, but in adaptation. You see, life isn't supposed to be easy. Ease doesn't make you strong. Struggle does. Every challenge you faced has shaped a version of you that knows how to endure. And the deeper the struggle, the stronger the roots you grow. Resilience also means trusting timing. Even when you don't understand it, sometimes life delays what you want because it's developing who you need to become to handle it. The waiting, the uncertainty, the failures, they're not punishments, they're preparation. Every difficulty carries a message, and resilience helps you listen to it instead of fighting against it. There's a beauty in the scars we carry. They remind us not of weakness, but of survival. Every scar is proof that you've been tested, and you're still here. Resilience doesn't erase the pain, it gives it purpose. You might be listening right now in the middle of your own battle. Maybe you're tired. Maybe you've tried and failed, more times than you can count. Maybe it feels like everything is falling apart. But here's the truth. You've survived every single hard day you've ever faced. You have a 100% success rate at getting through the impossible. And that means you're far stronger than you realize. The resilient don't wait for life to get easier. They get stronger. They adapt, they grow, they bend, but they don't break, and every time they fall they rise with more wisdom, more clarity, and more courage. Think of the phoenix, a creature born from its own ashes. It doesn't fear the fire, it understands that from destruction comes rebirth. That's the essence of resilience, knowing that endings are often disguised beginnings. But resilience also requires gentleness. It's not just about pushing through, it's about allowing yourself to heal in the process. It's about forgiving yourself for not being perfect, for taking time, for needing rest. Strength isn't in how hard you fight, it's in how deeply you care, even after you've been hurt. Resilience is choosing to hope again, even when hope has failed you before. It's believing that there's something beyond this moment, that no storm lasts forever. And when you hold on to that truth, you stop seeing challenges as obstacles and start seeing them as training grounds for your greatness. Every time you rise after falling, you become a living example of what's possible. You become the proof that pain can lead to purpose, that endings can lead to evolution. You become the strength someone else will one day draw from. So if you're still fighting, keep fighting. If you're still standing, keep standing. And if you're still believing, keep believing. Because resilience isn't about the number of times you fall, it's about refusing to let the fall define you. Life will test you, yes, but remember the test isn't meant to break you, it's meant to reveal you. And once you discover the strength that's been inside you all along, nothing can ever truly defeat you again. In the next chapter, we'll explore the power of self-discipline, the partner of resilience. Because resilience helps you survive the storms, but discipline helps you steer through them. Together, they turn struggle into strategy and potential into power. So as you step forward, carry this truth with you. You are not fragile. You are forged, and every challenge that tried to break you only shaped you into someone unshakable. Chapter 8: The Art of Self-Discipline. Doing what needs to be done. Discipline, the word itself can feel heavy. It carries the weight of early mornings, hard choices, and moments of resistance when comfort whispers your name. But here's the truth most people never tell you. Discipline isn't punishment, it's power. It's the invisible force that separates the life you want from the one you settle for. Every great transformation, physical, emotional, or spiritual, begins with one quiet decision. I will do what needs to be done, even when I don't feel like it. That's discipline, and that's where freedom begins. People often mistake freedom for doing whatever they want, whenever they want. But real freedom, lasting freedom, comes from self-control. It's the kind of freedom that lets you say no to distraction, no to laziness, no to the old version of yourself that kept you stuck. Because every time you say no to what doesn't serve you, you're saying yes to who you're becoming. Discipline is the bridge between desire and achievement. It's the daily choice to act in alignment with your highest potential, not your current mood. And let's be honest, you won't always feel motivated. There will be mornings when the bed feels too warm, the dream feels too far, and your excuses sound too convincing. That's when discipline steps in, steady, unshaken, whispering, "Do it anyway." Motivation starts the journey. Discipline finishes it. Think about the people who inspire you, the athletes, the artists, the leaders, the thinkers. They're not superhuman, they just mastered the art of showing up. When it was inconvenient, when it was uncomfortable, when no one was watching. They trained themselves to rise above emotion and follow commitment. Self-discipline is not about perfection, it's about consistency. It's not about doing everything right, it's about refusing to give up when things go wrong. It's showing up every single day and doing something, however small, that moves you closer to your vision. There's a quiet confidence that comes from being disciplined. You start to trust yourself. You begin to know that no matter what life throws at you, you'll follow through. That kind of trust is priceless, because when you can depend on yourself, you stop chasing external validation. And discipline isn't always grand. Sometimes it's choosing water over soda. Sometimes it's reading instead of scrolling. Sometimes it's saying no to drama, walking away from negativity, or staying patient when anger wants control. These moments, small and invisible, are where greatness is built, day by day, decision by decision. Discipline asks you to trade short-term pleasure for long-term growth. It asks you to do what's hard now, so life can become easier later. It's not glamorous, and it's not always fun, but it's always worth it. There's a moment in everyone's journey where you'll be tempted to quit. The results will come slower than expected. The progress will feel invisible, and the doubt will get louder. But that's where discipline becomes your shield. It's the reminder that consistency compounds, that every effort, every repetition, every step forward matters, even when you can't see the results yet. Imagine planting a seed and digging it up every day to see if it's growing. You'd destroy it before it had the chance to sprout. Discipline is the patience to keep watering, even when nothing seems to happen. Because deep down you trust growth is happening beneath the surface. And here's the secret. Discipline doesn't drain your energy, it creates it. Every time you honor your word, you build momentum. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you strengthen your character. You become the kind of person who doesn't wait for opportunity, you create it. Self-discipline is not just about what you do, it's also about what you stop doing. You stop wasting time on things that don't align with your goals. You stop letting emotions make your decisions. You stop giving power to habits that pull you backward. Because the truth is, every disciplined no is a declaration of self-respect. Many people ask, how do I stay disciplined? The answer is simple but not easy. Know your why. When your reason is strong enough, your excuses lose power. When your vision burns brightly enough, your resistance fades. Discipline without purpose feels like punishment. Discipline with purpose feels like alignment. Start small. Wake up when you said you would. Keep one promise today. Follow through on one goal this week, and then build on that. Because the strongest structures are built one brick at a time, and so is your future. You might not see results today, or even tomorrow, but one day, the discipline that felt so heavy will become your natural rhythm. The sacrifices will become second nature, and you'll realize you didn't lose anything, you gained everything. You gained peace, control, confidence, and the quiet joy of knowing you've earned your life. Discipline is the seed of mastery. It's the habit that turns effort into excellence and dreams into destiny. It's not the glamorous part of the journey, but it's the one that guarantees success. So ask yourself, who could you become if you simply followed through? If you stopped negotiating with your goals and started honoring, what would your life look like if you kept every promise you made to yourself? The answer is powerful, because that version of you already exists. You just have to discipline yourself long enough to meet them. In the next chapter, we'll explore focus, the art of protecting your energy and attention, because discipline builds your foundation, but focus builds your direction. When you combine the two, you don't just move, you move with purpose. So remember, the life you dream of doesn't belong to the most talented. It belongs to the most disciplined, to those who do what's necessary, even when no one's watching, to those who choose growth over comfort, every single day. Chapter 9. The Power of Focus. Guarding your mind in a distracted world. There's a quiet war happening every day, a war for your attention. Every beep, every scroll, every notification, they're all fighting for a piece of your mind. And if you don't learn to protect it, the world will gladly consume it. Focus, it's the invisible edge that separates the average from the extraordinary. It's the difference between scattered potential and unstoppable progress. When you master focus, you stop reacting to life and start directing it. We live in a world where distraction has become the new addiction. People check their phones hundreds of times a day, scrolling endlessly through lives that aren't theirs, comparing, consuming, losing themselves piece by piece. Attention, the most valuable currency of the modern world, is being spent carelessly. And the price, your peace, your purpose, your progress. But here's the truth, your mind is your most sacred space. Whatever you allow to enter it will shape your emotions, your actions, and ultimately, your destiny. If you don't control your focus, someone else will. Focus is not just about attention, it's about alignment. It's choosing what deserves your energy and what doesn't. It's saying, this matters to me and I will give it my full presence. When your focus is fractured, your potential is too. But when your mind is still and your energy is directed, you become powerful, unstoppable, even. Because what you focus on expands. Imagine this, Two people with the same dream, the same resources, the same opportunity. One spends their days multitasking, chasing every shiny distraction that appears. The other chooses focus, deep, intentional, undivided attention on what truly matters. A year later, their lives don't even look alike. That's the power of focus. Focus isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters most, and doing it with your full heart. It's about creating depth in your effort instead of drowning in endless activity. Because productivity without direction is just movement without progress. The greatest performers, athletes, artists, entrepreneurs, thinkers, all share one secret: they know how to enter flow. That state where time disappears, distractions fade, and everything feels effortless. But flow doesn't happen by accident. It's born from clarity and discipline, from protecting your focus like your life depends on it. Because it does. To focus in today's world, you must become a guardian of your attention. You must learn to say no, not out of arrogance, but out of alignment. No to meaningless conversation. No to mindless scrolling. No to the noise that drowns out your own voice. Every no you give to distraction is a yes to your destiny. Focus requires solitude, not loneliness. Solitude, that sacred space where you disconnect from the chaos of the world to reconnect with yourself. Because when you sit in silence, you begin to hear what truly matters. You rediscover clarity, the kind that only comes when the noise fades away. Focus also requires clarity of vision. You can't hit a target you can't see. Ask yourself, what truly deserves my attention right now? If everything is important, nothing is. Choose the few things that align with your purpose and give them your best. Distractions don't always look like temptations. Sometimes they disguise themselves as opportunities, but not every opportunity deserves your energy. Focus means having the wisdom to know when to walk away from good things, to protect the right things. And remember this, your energy flows where your attention goes. If you constantly focus on problems, you magnify them. If you focus on growth, you amplify it. Whatever you give mental space to will eventually shape your external reality. So protect your focus like a sacred flame. Keep it away from the winds of negativity and noise. Surround yourself with people and environments that fuel clarity, not chaos. Because one focused hour is worth more than a day of distraction. There's beauty in simplicity. When your mind is uncluttered, creativity flourishes. When your schedule is intentional, progress accelerates. When your energy is directed, breakthroughs happen. But don't mistake focus for rigidity. It's not about closing yourself off from the world. It's about being fully present in it. It's about training your mind to stay still in a world that's constantly moving. It's the quiet power of saying, I choose where my attention goes. You don't need more time. You need more focus within the time you already have. Because hours filled with distraction create nothing, but minutes filled with intention can change everything. So slow down, breathe, center yourself, ask what truly matters today. Then give that one thing your full, undivided focus, and watch how your life begins to shift. Focus turns chaos into clarity. It turns intention into results. It turns ordinary moments into stepping stones toward greatness. The truth is, the world doesn't need more noise. It needs more focus. More people who are grounded, aware, and committed to what matters most, and you can be one of them. All it takes is the courage to reclaim your mind. In the next chapter, we'll go deeper into momentum, how to keep your progress alive once you've built focus and discipline. Because it's not enough to start strong. The real magic is learning how to keep going, how to stay in motion when the excitement fades, how to turn focus into unstoppable flow. But before we move forward, remember this: distraction is the enemy of destiny. And your destiny deserves your full attention. Chapter 10, Winning in Silence. The quiet power of consistent effort. Have you ever watched the sunrise in absolute silence? No one around, no distractions, just the world awakening slowly as the first rays of light touch the horizon. It's quiet, it's subtle, yet in that stillness there is immense power. That quiet, unnoticed moment is a perfect metaphor for the life you are building, because true victory is often forged in silence, away from the eyes of others, in moments no one applauds. This is the final truth of the journey we've been exploring together. You win, not by shouting, not by seeking approval, but by showing up, day after day, consistently, faithfully. All the lessons you've learned, discipline, focus, momentum, they converge here, and they converge quietly, almost invisibly, like water carving a canyon. No one sees it at first. No one celebrates it. But the impact is unstoppable. People often ask, how long will it take before I see results? The answer is, it doesn't matter. Results are not the measure of effort. Effort is the measure of character. Every hour you spend sharpening your skills, every choice you make that aligns with your purpose, every sacrifice you endure quietly, it counts. Even if no one notices, especially if no one notices, victory in life is not a public display. It is the culmination of countless small victories, moments when you said no to distraction, yes to growth, yes to commitment, yes to yourself. These moments are your invisible army. They fight for you, even when you're tired, unmotivated, or doubting your path. Think about it. The tallest mountains were not moved in a day. Rivers did not carve valleys in an instant. Stars did not shine overnight. Everything worth achieving demands time, patience, and relentless, quiet effort. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is strategy. It is the space where your energy accumulates, where your mind focuses, where your potential matures, and when the time comes, that quiet, consistent effort erupts into results that feel effortless, because you prepared in secrecy. Many people measure success by applause, by recognition, by visible signs of achievement, but those who truly win understand a different measure: integrity. The integrity to show up when no one is watching. The integrity to honor your commitments, even when it is inconvenient. The integrity to focus on the work, not the validation. Imagine a sculptor working in a dim studio, day after day, chisel in hand, shaping, refining, perfecting. The world outside sees only the finished statue. They don't see the hours, the sweat, the mistakes, the silent repetition. But the masterpiece exists because of that quiet labor. Your life is your masterpiece, and your silent effort is the sculptor's hand. Silence also builds resilience. When you are not performing for applause, when you are not motivated by recognition, you discover your true strength. You find the courage to persist. You learn to trust yourself, not others, and that trust, the kind that arises from consistent effort, is unshakable. To win in silence, you must embrace patience. You must relinquish the need for immediate gratification. You must understand that growth is rarely linear. There will be setbacks, moments of doubt, and challenges that seem insurmountable. But your silent daily effort is like planting seeds in fertile soil, unseen, yet destined to flourish. And here's the most profound part: winning in silence transforms more than your circumstances. It transforms you. It shapes your character. It develops humility, resilience, and confidence. It teaches you that your worth is not determined by recognition, but by the effort you are willing to commit to your own growth. Every chapter we've explored in this journey leads to this truth. Focus on you until you win. Discipline, attention, momentum, patience, they all converge into a single point of power, and that point is you, your actions, your commitment, your choices. The life you want is not given, it is claimed, quietly, consistently. intentionally. So embrace the silence, cherish it, let it be your ally. Every small step, every unseen effort, every quiet victory is building a foundation so strong that when the world finally sees your results, they will seem effortless. But you will know the truth. You earned it. Winning in silence is not about hiding. It's about prioritizing substance over spectacle. It's about showing up when it matters, regardless of who is watching. It's about letting your life, your results, your character, your impact speak louder than words ever could. As this journey concludes, carry this final wisdom with you. You are your own most important project. Your time, your energy, your focus, protect them fiercely. Your growth is not a performance for the world, it is a commitment to yourself. And when you honor that commitment, when you show up daily, quietly, with integrity and persistence, victory is inevitable. Remember, the world may not notice your efforts now, but history has always favored those who worked when no one was watching, who persisted when hope seemed distant, who focused on growth rather than applause. You are ready. You have built discipline. You have mastered focus. You have created momentum. Now all that remains is to continue quietly, persistently, faithfully, until the life you dream of is the life you live. And when it comes, it will come. It will be because you earned it in silence, with unwavering dedication, and the courage to focus on you until you win. This is your moment. The silence is yours. The victory is waiting, and it begins.